Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Jonathan Williams is president and senior economist of our friends at the American Legislative Exchange Council. And today is tax day. That means the new edition. There is good news on tax day. The new edition of Rich States, Poor States comes out. Jonathan, you're standing next to a cardboard cutout, so we know that Utah won again. Perennial number one Utah. You know, are they ever going to be dethroned?
That's a great question, Hugh. Good to be back with you, and happy tax day if you want to call it that, now that we got that behind us again. But Utah's got an incredible economic record. We were with Governor Cox and legislative leaders today at the governor's residence outlining this new ranking for 18 years in a row now. And what they've done here, Hugh, is so special in the fact that they've done what many other states haven't, have only dreamed of doing, which is real pension reform, addressing property taxes through their truth in taxation law, becoming the first flat tax state. Before we've seen now 7 states become flat tax states in the years since. And so Utah's been a pace setter for a very long time. And the great thing about Utah is their legislative leaders like President Stuart Adams and Speaker Schultz, who are with today, they're always looking around the corner to say, how do we not just stay at number one this year? How do we stay at number one for the next decade? And I think that kind of forethought and planning has been exactly what it's taken to keep them there now for 18 years in a row.
Now, whenever I do a rich state, poor state segment, people lean in to find out where their state is. I can't do all 50. But I can do the top 10 and the bottom 10. Top 10, Utah, Tennessee, Indiana, North Carolina, North Dakota, Arizona, Idaho at 7, South Dakota at 8, Texas, and Arkansas. The bottom 10, Minnesota, Maryland, Oregon, Connecticut, my lovely Maine, number 45, Illinois 46, California 47, New Jersey 48, Vermont 49, New York 50. Jonathan, 30,000 feet. What puts people in the top 10? What puts people in the bottom 10?
Well, what we see consistently, and I was just in Albany, New York last week, so we've gone from worst to first in the last week here on our travels. But what we see consistently at the bottom states are states that have big government policies across the board, high taxes across the board, and then they play special favorites and pick winners and losers based on who has the best lobbyists in the state capital. And that's the approach of the bottom 10 states almost every year, where you have the top 10 states that have a very free market outlook, low taxes across the board, incentivizing entrepreneurship and small business. And it's just a much different environment of getting government out of the way of businesses and individuals versus having government be empowered to make all the decisions.
Now, Jonathan, how does someone get a copy? I leave my copy in my guest room so that when anyone from out of state, it's the first thing they always look up. They always talk about it. It's fabulously sized, great graphics. Where do people get it?
They can go to richstatespoorstates.org or ALEC.org, both places to get this. And, the great thing about richstatespoorstates.org, Hugh, is it doesn't just load this year's ranking. We've kept this a consistent time series now for 18 years where you can go back and see where your state has ranked, 10 or 15 years ago versus where it is today. And good news, I know the Buckeyes were just at the White House this week, Hugh, and, Ohio was in the bottom 5 18 years ago when we kicked off this ranking. And now top half. And so we've seen
now
an
let me
speak. In a state like Ohio.
Let me speak to Jonathan being from that state up north and the thumb on the scale. I have here the two sheets, the two rankings. I have Michigan at number 19 and I have Ohio at number 25th. I have economic performance, Michigan at 35th, Ohio at 37. I detect a thumb on the scale, Jonathan Williams.
Hey, you got football going for you right now, Hugh, but the economics are still okay in Michigan, and thank God we have Speaker Matt Hall there right now, holding down the fort from what Gretchen Whitmer would do to Michigan otherwise.
This is indefensible. Ohio got the backpack bill passed. You're not weighting the backpack bill enough, Jonathan Williams.
We talked about this, Hugh. We do want to add education freedom because, as Milton Friedman always said, the combination of education freedom and economic freedom is a beautiful thing. And now that we have 15 universal school choice states with our ALEC efforts across the board and our legislators leading the way, that's exactly what we're looking at, is that combination. And it's no surprise that Utah here, the number one state in America, did exactly that and have education freedom with the flat tax and all the other great policies that they have.
I'm pretty sure that Michigan won't be stealing that sign from Ohio when it comes to education freedom. But Jonathan, this is a fabulous thing. How long has this been running and who came up with the idea? Because this is really a brilliant thing that ALEC.org does.
Well, thank you. In 18 years, this was I was involved with it from day one, my first days at ALEC. But Art Laffer and Steve Moore, my co-authors, came to us with this idea of why don't we just take advantage of the idea of 50 laboratories in democracy, give policymakers and people across the country a way to measure their states.
A beautiful thing, and next year we'll get that anti-Ohio bias out of it, that pro-Michigan tilt. And other than that, everyone should read this and then give it to their state legislators, richstates, poorstates.org or ALEC.org. Thank you, Jonathan.